What if I told you that one man's entire legacy just came crashing down in the most brutal, unforgiving match format WWE has to offer? On January 9, 2026, the wrestling world witnessed something that left fans absolutely divided, furious, and demanding answers in ways we haven't seen in years. The 3 stages of hell match between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre wasn't just a match, it was psychological warfare, it was desperation, it was everything WWE promises but rarely delivers. And the way it ended? The internet absolutely lost it. Before we dive deep into what happened, smash that like button if you believe the winner of this match genuinely deserved their victory. Seriously, drop that like right now because we're about to break down every single detail that made this match an absolute masterpiece of storytelling, and I want to know where your loyalty lies. Here's what you need to understand about 3 stages of hell matches. This isn't your standard wrestling encounter. This is psychological hell wrapped in 3 different physical battles. Pinfall, submission, cage match. Each stage strips away another layer of humanity from both competitors. By the time these warriors reach that cage, they're not thinking about impressing the crowd anymore. They're thinking about survival. They're thinking about legacy. And in this case, they were thinking about everything they had to prove to the world. The anticipation leading into January 9th was absolutely electric. Cody Rhodes coming off an incredible momentum, the man who's rebuilt himself into a legitimate main event player. The American Nightmare has this way of making you believe in him, of making you want to ride with him no matter what obstacles he faces. But then you have Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Warrior, a man who has tasted main event success, who has main event WrestleMania, who has held world titles. Drew came into this match with something to prove. He was hungry, he was angry, and the chemistry between these two had been building for weeks with promos that had people genuinely uncertain about who would advance. The moment both men stepped into that ring, you could feel it. The energy was different. This wasn't about entertaining the crowd anymore. This was about 2 men who genuinely wanted to hurt each other in the most legitimate way wrestling allows. And that first stage, the standard pinfall match, opened with a pace that was absolutely relentless. Cody came out swinging immediately. He's smart about these things. He knows that in a 3 stages of hell match, you don't want to coast in that first stage. You want to make a statement. You want to send a message to your opponent. And he did exactly that, controlling significant portions of that opening stanza with his signature offense. Those knees, that aggression, that willingness to bend the rules just slightly to get the advantage. The crowd was eating it up, but here's where it got interesting. Drew McIntyre is not a man who gets bullied for extended periods. The Claymore kick is always in his arsenal. That devastating kick that comes out of nowhere and can turn an entire match on its head. Every time Cody went on a run, you could feel the tension mounting because everyone in that arena knew one misstep could mean lights out. That's the beauty of wrestling psychology at its highest level. Booking 2 main event guys who both possess legitimate finishers means neither man is ever truly safe. The momentum swings felt earned. They felt real. The first stage ended in a way that genuinely shocked people, not because it was unpredictable, but because of how it happened. The storytelling was about more than just a victory, it was about who wanted it more in that moment. Who was willing to go the extra mile? Who had that killer instinct when it truly mattered? Then came the second stage, the submission match. This is where things got personal. Submission matches are absolutely brutal because there's nowhere to hide. You can't luck into a pin. You can't get rolled up. You have to make your opponent physically surrender. You have to make them say they quit or tap out. There's no hiding, no excuses, no controversy, just pure physical dominance and mental fortitude. And when that second stage started, both men came out with a completely different energy than the first stage. McIntyre, coming off his potential victory in that opening bout, had momentum. Cody had something to prove. The submissions being attempted were nasty. We're talking the kind of holds that make you wince just watching them. The Walls of Jericho variations, the submission holds that target specific body parts from the first match, creating this beautiful narrative where previous damage now comes back to haunt the competitors. That is storytelling. That is professional wrestling at its absolute finest. There was one moment in the second stage that legitimately had the crowd on their feet. A near submission that went on for what felt like an eternity. The camera work, the close-ups of faces showing agony and desperation, you could genuinely believe either man might tap. The psychology was absolutely immaculate. This isn't some fake show for entertainment anymore. This feels like 2 warriors genuinely fighting for their lives. The way the second stage concluded set up the third stage in ways that had people theorizing immediately. Social media exploded, Reddit threads multiplied, YouTube comments started flying in with people absolutely divided on what they'd witnessed. And then we got to the final stage, the cage, the ultimate prison, the place where a match doesn't end until someone can no longer continue. The cage match is the most primal form of professional wrestling. You can't escape, you can't avoid your opponent. You can't ask the referee to make it stop. You're locked in a steel structure with another human being who wants to harm you, and the only way out is to physically defeat them, or escape through the cage door. That adds another dimension to the storytelling. Do you try to climb? Do you try to escape? Do you face your opponent directly? Every decision matters in a cage match. When both men were locked in that cage, the atmosphere shifted entirely. This wasn't about the crowd anymore. This was purely about two competitors with everything on the line. By this point, if we're talking about the narrative leading into this match, there were multiple layers at play. Personal animosity, professional respect, the weight of what's next in their careers. These are the matches that define legacies. The cage match itself was absolutely physical. The use of the cage as a weapon, the impact of bodies hitting steel, the deliberate targeting of previous injuries from the first two stages. This is how you book a 3 stages of hell match correctly. You don't reset the story, you build on it. You make the damage accumulate. You make the journey feel real. There were escape attempts that had people genuinely believing we'd see the door open and someone slide out. There were moments where the finish felt predictable, and then wrestling would twist the narrative in unexpected ways. The crowd couldn't decide who they wanted to win, or maybe they could, and that's what made it so compelling, seeing their favorite pushed to the absolute brink. The final moments of that cage match are what people will be talking about for months. The way it concluded, the manner in which victory was secured, this created massive discussion. This is the kind of match that people analyze frame by frame, dissecting every moment, every decision, every storytelling element. Did the right man win? Was it fair? Would the loser get their revenge? These are the questions that keep people invested in professional wrestling. Here's what made this entire encounter special: both men left pieces of themselves in that ring. This wasn't a match where you had a clear hero and a clear villain. This was two legitimate competitors, each with valid reasons for winning, each with legitimate grievances, each capable of being the protagonist or antagonist depending on your perspective. That's wrestling storytelling at its highest level. The aftermath of this match is equally important. How did the loser react? Did they demand a rematch? Did they move on? Did they attack their opponent post-match in anger? Did they show respect? Every single detail matters, because this match, these moments, are now part of both men's legacies forever. Years from now, people will point to this match and this moment as a defining point in their careers. If you've been watching professional wrestling for any length of time, you know that 3 stages of hell matches are not common. They're not thrown out there every week. They're reserved for moments when two competitors need to settle something in the most decisive way possible. The fact that WWE booked this match on January 9th tells you everything you need to know about how important this feud was to the company's direction moving forward. Now here's where I want to hear from you in the comments. First question: who do you genuinely believe deserved to win this match more? And I'm not asking who your favorite wrestler is. I'm asking who you believed had the better narrative arc, the better reasons for victory, the better claim to being the rightful winner of this 3 stages of hell encounter. Let me know in the comments, because this community has the most passionate wrestling fans on the entire internet, and I genuinely want to know where your head's at. Second question: if there's a rematch, should it happen? Should we get a 4th opportunity for these men to compete against each other, or should this chapter be closed? Some feuds should continue burning hot. Some feuds should end definitively. Where do you stand on the future of Cody and Drew? Third question: what did you think was the best stage of this match? The pure wrestling of the first stage? The technical storytelling of the submission match? The raw physicality of the cage? Vote in the comments with your honest take, because I want to feature the best comments in our next video. The production quality of this match, the way it was filmed, the camera work, the commentary, everything combined to create an experience that elevated professional wrestling. This wasn't just about two guys fighting. This was about the culmination of storytelling that had been building for weeks, months maybe. The payoff was absolutely worth the investment. What's beautiful about wrestling is that it's collaborative storytelling. Cody and Drew worked together to create something memorable. The creative team built the narrative. The production crew captured it beautifully. The commentary team elevated it with their voices and their expertise. Everyone involved made this match into something special. And then the fans brought their own emotions, their own hopes, their own desires for how this story should conclude. That is what makes professional wrestling magical. Looking forward, the implications of this match are huge. Careers are now on different trajectories. Momentum has shifted. New opportunities present themselves. And for the fans, for people like us who watch week after week, we got to witness a moment that will be referenced for years to come. We got to be part of wrestling history. The legacy of this 3 stages of hell match isn't just about who won or lost. It's about the standard it set. It's about the emotional investment both competitors showed. It's about the way professional wrestling can still surprise us and captivate us even after decades of the industry existing. Every single element worked in harmony to create something legitimate, something meaningful, something real. So here's my final question for you: will you be watching whatever comes next for both of these competitors? Because if this match was any indication, we're in for an absolutely incredible stretch of wrestling programming. The talent on this roster is undeniable. The storytelling is top tier. And moments like what happened on January 9th remind us exactly why we fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Tell me what moment from this match stuck with you the most. Tell me what you think comes next for these competitors. Tell me if you think this 3 Stages of Hell match will be remembered as one of the best of its kind. Engage with this community because that's what makes Ring Rumble special. You don't just watch wrestling here, you discuss it, you analyze it, you feel it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Ring Rumble for more in-depth wrestling analysis, match breakdowns, and discussion that goes beyond the surface level. We don't just watch wrestling, we understand it. We appreciate the craft, we recognize the artistry, and we're building a community of people who genuinely care about professional wrestling as an art form. This is Ring Rumble. We'll see you next time for more wrestling content that matters.